Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Doug Blush, executive producer of the documentary The Elephant Whisperers on Netflix. Doug, I want to first congratulate you on being shortlisted for the upcoming Academy Awards. You're among just 15 potential nominees for Best Documentary Short. What was it like to receive that news, and what has this reception been like for you and director Kartiki Gonzalez?
Oh, well, the short list is this amazing validation, especially for Kartiki, who's been such a force of nature. She's been working on this film for 5 years in a really remote, wild area of southern India. And it just proves that this story, this kind of timeless story that we were all trying to tell, really is resonating. And it's the greatest feeling when you get that word that other people appreciate it too. It's just terrific.
So the documentary, it's about this couple in South India, and they care for elephants. And this is a particular story about their relationship with Raghu and a human-elephant bond. It's beautiful to see this movie. How did Kartiki and the filmmakers initially hear about this elephant camp, and then what inspired them to go actually make a film about it?
Well, Kartiki lives in the region where this preserve is, and this is one of those unique parts of the world where they have a really well-preserved area of incredible nature. I mean, there are literally every kind of animal you can imagine wandering around in this preserve. And Kartiki had known about the elephant reserve and the tiger reserve that are up there. So she was very familiar with it. And then she got word through friends that there was a couple that had been working with first adult elephants, but then at the time, it was mainly Bowman working with adult elephants, and that they were now rescuing this baby named Raghu. And the survival rate was so unlikely for baby elephants, orphaned elephants. The chances were almost zero that this baby elephant would survive and grow and thrive. But Bowman and Belly's work to bring this baby forward and to care for it like a true child saved this elephant's life, and it becomes a family drama, basically. Yeah.
What's happening in general that has caused a need for camps like this to exist in India?
Well, obviously, all of these incredible species in this park are endangered, or they're certainly threatened and pressured by human expansion, climate change, reduction of roaming lands. And what's special about this preserve is they take that very seriously to keep it as wild and natural as possible. And it gives the elephants the range they need to survive and to actually continue to hopefully thrive. I mean, Indian elephants are doing better in many ways than African elephant populations, and that's partially because of the conservation efforts that the Indian government and then this preserve has taken such care. Of course, elephants are revered in India, and it's sort of part of the cultural fabric of India to make sure that elephants are a part of life. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually see a ceremony where they paint the elephant and then take it in to receive its blessings, and it's almost like this parade. It does feel like a very spiritual experience,
Very much. Yeah, it's integrated into daily life. It's certainly not a tourist thing. It's a very, very solemn religious ceremony, and this is literally talking to God for the people of this preserve. Yeah.
And it's unbelievable how much it reflects like a parent-child relationship. They're playing in the river together. I mean, these elephants are showing all the same emotions of sadness, happiness. They can be mischievous. What surprised you the most, or what do you feel like you learned from watching this experience unfold?
Well, I think you hit on it. It's a family story. It's actually the story of kids growing up, and in one case, leaving home. And what's that like? What's that emotionally like? And it's the kind of thing that everybody goes through who's ever had, pets that pass on, or kids that grow up and head off to college or go wherever they go. And this was that kind of fable, that you've got a family where you've got two kids. Ultimately, I'm not spoiling too much, but the parents have all the usual problems you have with kids growing up. And then it comes time to say goodbye, And so when you see the film, there's a lot of those emotional highs and lows. There's that bond and that love, despite all the hard work and the tough times. And I loved it just because I think it's a universal story for any parent and any child. It's very recognizable.
And it's easy to fall in love with the elephants. Those are magical to watch. But the film also makes you fall in love with Boman and Bali. These are the people that live in the forest, and they've had difficult lives. Bali's husband was killed by a tiger. She lost a daughter, and she talks about how these elephants have become her children and even wipe her tears away with their trunks when she's sad. What's the biggest lesson from them that we can take away from what those two are showing about how to live life in their part of the world?
Well, that's one of my hopes, is that instead of it being a science film with a lot of experts, it's really about the bond between man and nature and humans and animals. And one of the things I think in the film that resonates is that Belly tells her young granddaughter the story of the blind man and the elephant, which is to understand what the true nature of an elephant is. A lot of people in India and elsewhere think that elephants are, rampaging and destroying crops and doing damage. And of course, there's poaching and all these other things. And her story brings home the fact that once you live with an elephant, you truly understand that elephant's soul, and the bond is unbreakable after that. And that's what the film kind of goes into, is this couple and the other people who work with them. For them, elephants are life. It's absolutely a crucial bond. And I just love that, because it just makes you feel the closeness with whatever animal or human relationship you have. And I think that's what's so universal about it. I loved working on this film. It was sort of like a healing thing as the pandemic was fading. And most of this film was done remotely and at a distance because of all the pandemic shutdowns. But this kept us going. We used that as kind of an inspiration and a booster to remind ourselves of the importance of the larger world, and that humans aren't everything. There's so much more out there.
How receptive were they to having a film crew around them, and what was that like for them?
This is a great credit to Kartiki and her ability to be, first of all, be within the culture. She speaks the dialect, and she got their trust by just going and being there and just watching and not invading their space, and just sort of filming what happened day to day. Including sometimes when there was no crew available, she'd take her iPhone. If there was a moment where something special was happening, she would just shoot whatever was there. And other times when she was there with a full crew, they were very careful not to affect what was going on. They just observed. And I think that Bowman and Belly really appreciated that Kartiki respected their space. That she respected the culture, the religion and the ceremonies, and she was just there to watch. And ultimately, she brought back this incredibly beautiful film. When I saw the footage, I said, oh my gosh, there's nothing like this out there. It's incredible.
Yeah, the cinematography is beautiful, and the landscape is just something that not a lot of people are going to be able to see other than watching something like this. Can you talk about how the film was shot, and how did we get some of those longer shots that, clearly took more work than one person with a camera? There was some professionalism going into that I would love to hear more about.
Well, Kartiki, to her great credit, she did shoot a lot of this film herself, and she has a fantastic photographic eye. During the filming, she would send me photos from other parts of India, and even from her front lawn, there was I forget if it was a jaguar or whatever the animal was that was crossing her front yard. She would send me pictures of these animals roaming around on her like a driveway. So she lives in the environment. She understands the environment, and I think for a cinematographer, you need to kind of feel that place and to learn it. And she knew it so well. So she and her team, we had some great cinematographers. We had a great drone operator, obviously, who brought the majesty of the vistas of the place. But really, it came down to the intimacy. I give so much credit to Kartiki and her DP for just being intimate with Bowman and Belly and the elephants. It feels like the camera's not there, and that's the hardest challenge in documentary, is to just melt into the background, don't affect what's going on, observe, and then we build the story, with all the beautiful things that she gave us. Yeah.
And then beginning to end of the process, how long did this all take for Kartiki to put this together?
Well, we're at 5 years and counting, including all of this amazing time here. And that's how much tenacity she had. She always believed in this project. And that's why I jumped on, because I get a lot of offers for different films. And when I saw this, I said, this is magic. There's something beyond, just a nature film or anything like that. This is a magical, timeless story. And I just had to be a part of it. So I ended up being on the film for about 2 years of that 5 years, 2.5 almost. And I'm very proud of Kartiki for staying the course. It's so easy in documentary to just throw your hands up and say, oh, this is so much work, I can't do it anymore. And she never wavered. She just kept going.
Well, Doug, congratulations on the film and being shortlisted for Best Documentary Short at the upcoming Oscars. The Elephant Whisperers is available to watch right now on Netflix, so everyone can go check it out. Doug, it was a pleasure to speak with you, and best of luck.
Thanks, Denton. Appreciate it.